As part of In Studio's celebration of the cultural diversity of Los Angeles, we would now like to invite you to celebrate with us the Jewish New Year. Now, the Jewish New Year, or Rosh Hashanah, begins at sundown this evening and ends in about 10 days with Yom Kippur. Here to help us understand more about the holiday and help us begin with the traditions and the celebrations of the Jewish New Year is the president of the Board of Rabbis, Moshe Rothblum, who is also senior rabbi at Temple Adat Ariel. When we talk about the Jewish New Year, I think it's important that we first look at how the Jewish New Year is in many ways different from the New Year as we in the secular community know our New Year to be. What is the concept of the Jewish New Year?
I think basically the major theme of the High Holy Days, beginning with Rosh Hashanah, is the theme of introspection and of evaluation, evaluating what we are doing with our lives, our goals, the choices that we make as individuals. It is not a party as the secular New Year is. It is really a much more serious taking of stock in our lives.
Is the Jewish New Year considered to be one of the high holy days on the Jewish calendar?
That's correct. As a matter of fact, Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur are known as the high holy days and really represent the holiest time of our Jewish year, particularly Yom Kippur, which is the 24-hour fast day which comes at the end.
Mm-hmm. If the concept is one of introspection and one of attaining some goodness within oneself and honesty about oneself and about life around you, then I can imagine that this is not so much a celebration as a reaffirmation of what being Jewish is all about.
That's exactly right, Catherine. As a matter of fact, the whole idea of being honest with yourself, of evaluating what you are doing with your life, is reflected, for example, in the confessionals that we have on Yom Kippur, where we list all of the sins which we have committed. And obviously not everybody could have committed all of those sins, but we do that as a community in order to be totally honest, brutally honest, if you will, with the idea that if we are honest about who we are and what is important to us, if we then want to change, we have a better chance of accomplishing this change.
Not to make light of a serious subject, but I can imagine that the list could often be this long.
That's right, and particularly some of the English translations of the words are not only difficult to do but hard to pronounce. But nevertheless, we do this, and it's done in the plural as a community.
As we.
Correct. We have done this. We have sinned. We have gossiped. We have not been honest with our neighbor. We have spoken poorly to someone. And there's also that sense that the community is intertwined. Everyone is intertwined one with the other. And so if there is injustice anywhere in the world, then every individual feels that injustice, even if he or she may not have specifically committed that particular sin, as we call it.
If I were to be a visitor of your temple this evening as the sun sets and as the observance of the Jewish New Year gets underway this evening, what would I find? What would I see in terms of the services?
I think you would find different elements. I think you would find a certain majesty and a pomp that is connected with Rosh Hashanah. One of the themes of Rosh Hashanah is the kingship of God. And so in a sense, the idea of coronating God as king, setting God as the ideal, is something that is reflected and is seen in the sanctuary itself. You'd hear the beautiful music, with the cantor and the choir, who sing and in an aesthetic, pleasingly aesthetic way, try to focus on some of the themes that the words evoke, but also evoked in music.
Rabbi, you have given me a perfect lead. I have to cut you right there because I think this is the perfect time to listen to some of the young people that you spoke of just now. Cantor David Silverstein and Andrew Schlocker, if I'm pronouncing the name right, from Temple Adat Ariel, will perform a number for us right at this time, and we'll talk again in a minute, but let's listen to them.
Kevakarat roedro, ותפקוד נפש כל חי. כן תעביר ותספור ותבנה, ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותפקוד נפש כל חי, ותחתוך כזבה לכל בריאה, ותכתוב את גזר דינם.
How important are young people in the songs they sing to the overall goal of a celebration such as this?
Well, I think that the importance of young people in any tradition, certainly in Judaism, is always emphasized because we want the tradition to be carried on. And so we try to involve young people in our service. There are services particularly geared for young people. We have young people singing in our choir. And in general, in terms of the Jewish educational enterprise, there is this attempt to connect with our young people so that they will feel that their tradition speaks to them as well.
And they are also the ones who are going to keep the traditions alive.
Exactly.
We will hear from Sandy Steiner, Ilana Fisher, and again Cantor David Silverstein. Very nice.
Lovely.
Equally as important are the symbols that keep the traditions alive. You've brought a couple of them this morning.
Right here we have the shofar, which is kind of like a trumpet, and it's connected to the idea of the coronation of the king, where you would sound the trumpet and also awake the people to the fact that repentance is at hand and they have to take the task quite seriously.
The shofar is actually a ram's head.
It's a ram's horn, correct.
Horn.
And it's something that I personally cannot play. We have a special shofar blower.
Oh, okay, so don't ask you to blow it,
Don't
okay.
ask me to play because otherwise you'll be very embarrassed, and so will I. And then we have here the apples. What we do is we dip the apple in honey as a sign that we hope that the coming year will be a sweet year and a good year for everybody.
Mm.
Would you like some?
Yes, I would. This is a sweet way to start your morning.
And it's a sweet way to start the new year.
Is it appropriate to say Happy New Year?
Absolutely.
Well, then I will say Happy